Hey guys, John Adamson, the Rehab and Documentation Guru. This is going to be kind of an off-the-cuff video, and it's basically just a little bit of story and a little bit of thought. So it's not necessarily particularly about documentation, it's not particularly about rehab, but I think it impacts all of us. I just spent almost 3 hours with one patient. Now, it was a case opening, so case openings can be long, but that wasn't the reason it was long. I was done with the clinical stuff probably within about an hour, 45 minutes, and even some of that was not all me asking OASIS questions, doing intake, getting vital signs. There was a lot of other stuff mixed in there. Mostly conversation, and a mostly one-sided conversation, patient talking to me. And fortunately, he was my last patient, so I had leeway. A couple times I indicated to him, I need to get going, but then I stuck around. But let me tell you, I've had a few completely fascinating patients in my life, and this was one of those moments. Without any HIPAA violating information, let's just say this man would be considered of advanced age, but he's very vigorous for his age, and he'd had some surgery. The guy is incredibly accomplished. He has done things in the business world, in the governmental world, in the arts. That's a big part of his life, is the arts. And just rich history. And I think I'm an averagely accomplished therapist. I've got certifications, specialization in geriatrics. I've taught courses. I've got some not bad accomplishments, but when I listen to this guy talk about his life story and the things he's done, I'm like, wow, I am nothing. Now, not that I'm nothing, and he certainly made me feel special. And we had a wonderful conversation, and we got to the end, he goes, John, I like you. And he said, I wouldn't just say that. I really mean it. And, that was nice. That was very kind of him to say. And I told him I felt richer from our time together. And it brought me back to my childhood when I didn't appreciate as much the elderly as I do now. Back, I just give you a little story about my personal background. Back when I was a young child, and I want to say I was somewhere around 9 or 10, my great-grandfather was still living on my mother's side. So my mother's grandfather, her mom's dad. And I remember, I wonder if this guy's gonna let me through. Yeah, okay. Dangerous traffic situation. I remember I met him for the first time. At least I thought it was my first time. He was in a wheelchair. He was in his early 90s. Pepe is what we great-grandkids called him. He was from Montreal area of Canada. Originally, he's bilingual, French and English. And anyway, he was a very thin, you would say he had cachexia, muscle wasting. His hands were all wasted away. You could see, very clearly, like the bones and tendons and veins. And he had an amputation, and I remember my feeling as a kid was like I didn't really want to be around him. Like I'd never seen somebody like him up to that point, that debilitated. And I kind of shied away from him. And I don't think I hardly talked to him. Later on in my life, my mom shared with me that I was actually, of the great-grandkids, I was his favorite. And meeting this patient today, with this outstanding background who's approaching the age of my Pepe, although more vigorous of a man than my Pepe was at that point. It made me sad that I missed opportunities to have as deep a discussion with my Pepe as I had with my patient. And I'm just riffing right now, guys, so there's no ultimate point to what I'm talking about here. But I was thankful that I was not in a situation today where I was in a facility where I had a director of rehab breathing down my neck about my billable time, because a lot of that would not be billable. And I'm going to have to dock my time. I was trying to pay attention to the clock so I could dock my time for what I actually was working and not. I'm heading to the office now. But if I had had that pressure of productivity, I would have missed out on a whole lot of life enrichment. And I guess in a world that is so productivity focused today, I don't think I have to tell you this. I think if you watch my channel, you probably are of the same mindset. We miss opportunities to have our lives professionally enriched by getting to know our patients more. Because I guarantee you, we've all had that special patient here and there that you're like, wow, I could just sit and talk to this person for a long time. I had a 90-year-old lady patient during the summer last year who was like that too, like just bubbly and outgoing and chatty, just like my patient today. But you could sit and listen to her for hours because she was brilliant, and she would just go between different things and, enriching. And I guess I would encourage you to make the most of those enriching moments. We all have productivity. I do have a productivity. I was under the assumption that productivity was not a big thing for my organization until I was talking to our manager of finance one day, and she says, oh yeah, we do have productivity, but you've been okay, so we haven't had to talk to you about it. So anyway, that was good to hear. But anyway, we all have our pressures of productivity, and then documentation. That's another pressure. Would it surprise you for me to tell you I hate documentation? I do. But I'm kind of like Gollum from The Lord of the Rings. When, I forget which of the characters is talking to Frodo about Gollum's obsession with the ring, but he says, I think it was Gandalf, he both loves it and hates it. And I think that's how I feel about documentation. I love to teach about it, how to document properly, things like that, but at the same time I hate it because I believe sometimes it gets in the way of my day, of my ability to interact with my patients. And anyway, I was having one of those days where I'm hating it. But when I get to the office, I've got to do some of it to finish this case opening. Fortunately, I did the rest earlier. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up, but I hope that you're able to take the time once in a while to really listen to your patients, because you know what that made me? Like he said, when I got ready to go, he said he really liked me. That'll automatically make me a better clinician for him. And he's like way outside my area. I had to drive a long distance to case open. They begged me to case open him today, which worked out fine because I had a patient fall off my caseload today. And they begged me to come out, and I said, sure, I'll do it. And I'm glad that patient fell off because I ended up having the extra time with this guy. Um, but he wants me to come back. He's due for another surgery. It's not for a while. This was a one-time PT eval also. Nursing's going in after me. But he asked if I could come back. And I said, for you, sure. I'll just have to make sure I've got him at the end of the day, so I know our visit's going to run long. But anyway, that's all I have to say. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a wonderful weekend. May the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you and give you peace now and forevermore. Take care.